sweethearts, and welcome back to my channel. Today I am joined by my dog, Boone. Today I'm going to be talking about my favorite video games. I was going to originally talk about how I got into gaming, but I'm kind of sad this week and I kind of want to talk about my favorites, hello buddy, to cheer me up. My three favorite games as of now are Overwatch, Tomb Raider, and Skyrim. In no particular order, they're all my favorites. So I wanted to talk about what aspects of them I like, and then I have somebody I want to shout out at the end of this video. So the first one up on the list is Skyrim. I got into Skyrim when I was younger. My brother got it for me for my PC, which wasn't a gaming PC, it was just like a normal laptop. And I was like, this is so cool, holy crap. And I had to download Steam. And I didn't know anything about Steam. I was still kind of new to like gaming outside of like the Nintendo universe. So as soon as Steam downloaded, was ready to open, I opened it and I was like, holy crap, I have to come up with a nickname? Okay. And so I sat there for about 5 minutes. Everything that I usually put in didn't work. And after about 5 minutes, my brother was like, give it to me. And so he typed in the Flying Cupcake, which is where the name of the channel comes from. And it worked. And we started playing Skyrim together and he started teaching me how to play it. And after playing through it, I think what I like about it is the story. Take back your spit. I think what I like most about Skyrim is the adventure that it presents. The sense of it was my first like open world. It was my first open world adventure type game that I was ever presented. I thought it was so cool and so sort of overwhelming in a sense, because all of a sudden I had all these places I could explore, like Whiterun, holy shit, that's a place that I can explore. Over here is another town that I can explore, holy crap. Like, it was so cool to me that I could go and explore all these places and find enemies that, hey, might be too strong for me at this point, but then I can come back, level up, and I'll be stronger. So that was very cool to me, and I think probably one of my favorite leaps in logic is when you become a werewolf as a Khajiit, and then the guards see you and they're like, is that fur coming out of your ears? And you're like, no duh, Sherlock, I am a cat person. There was definitely fur coming out of my cat ears. And of course, I loved the dragons. I am a big dragon fan. I always have been and I always will be. So pardon the change in clothing, but my mother came home yesterday and then we went to go see The Greatest Showman, which by the way, if you haven't seen it, and you're a fan of musicals, I definitely recommend you go watch because it was amazing. So Skyrim was definitely my first introduction to games that are not Nintendo. You know, games that have an open world, side quests, just general not Nintendo games. And it was amazing for everything you can imagine. I was just like, holy crap, I didn't know games could be this way. So the next game up for discussion is Tomb Raider. And to be honest, I didn't have a lot of exposure to Tomb Raider while I was growing up. I believe my brother played some games of Tomb Raider, but it was never really a game that he really pursued like he did other games. If you haven't picked it up by now, a lot of my gaming exposure as a child came from my brother. So whatever my brother didn't play when I was a child, it just didn't exist. So I decided to pick up Tomb Raider around when the 2013 version came out because I knew that Tomb Raider was a very popular game series. They were trying to reboot it, and I knew Lara Croft was this huge character in gaming, and I felt very uninformed that I didn't know like her backstory, who she was, what her games were like. So I picked up the 2013 version and I kind of fell in love. I'm not saying that the 2013 version is perfect, nor am I saying that Rise of the Tomb Raider is perfect, because in my opinion, no game is perfect. Even my favorite games have flaws, and I will acknowledge those flaws, but I thought that they were good reboots. I think that they are good ways to reintroduce Lara Croft. What I enjoy about Tomb Raider, aside from the backstory that we are now given in the 2013 and Rise of the Tomb Raider, is the puzzles. I love figuring out how things work. I love walking into a tomb and being like, what is the puzzle here and what do I have to do to get this certain thing? And I think it's very interesting how game designers can keep coming up with like new interesting puzzles or retakes on old puzzles that have happened, but just making them fresh and new. I think that's what I enjoy most about Lara Croft games, Tomb Raider games in general, is just the overall puzzle aspect. Okay, so I actually have a confession to make. Yesterday I was still kind of really sad, and while I'm sad today, not as sad as I was yesterday, I forgot one of my favorite games. I love the Dark Souls series, and Bloodborne included. I love it. It is so satisfying to me when I finally beat a boss that I've been struggling with forever. Like I said with Tomb Raider, I don't think it's perfect, but I really enjoy how it doesn't just give you the lore, like, you know, for example, Lara Croft just like gives you the lore where, you know, she's talking about what happened to her father, whatever. Dark Souls makes you pick it out from like everything, from like what you think is insignificant items in the game to just the enemies themselves. I think it's really fascinating. As somebody who has spent years putting together a story for a graphic novel, making sure it's near perfect, it is very satisfying to see it done in media because it looks like they took their time to put together a story instead of just pushing something out as sort of a cash grab thing. And also, I am a very stubborn person. Not extremely stubborn, but if you've ever talked to a Greek person, they are stubborn. And I get that from my father. He is a very stubborn Greek man. I am a very stubborn Greek American woman. And it is very satisfying to me to get my way in the game when I finally beat a boss. I just think it's hilarious that it's a rule that if it gets too quiet or you haven't seen an enemy in a very long time in Dark Souls or Bloodborne, you need to turn around to see if there's something like really huge chasing you. I was playing Dark Souls one time. I forget the name of the dungeon. I'll put it up here now. But I was walking along and it was so quiet. And I was like, what's wrong? And I turned around and there's this ball of skeletons just rushing towards me. I'm like, oh god, and I run away. Alright, so last but not least is Overwatch, and everybody knows from the best friend tag video with Stephanie that I am in love with Overwatch. And there are many factors to why I am so infatuated with this game. And it doesn't really just stem from the gameplay or the game mechanics, because I think it's a pretty standard, like, first-person shooter. There's a point, you need to capture the point. I mean, big disclaimer, I am not a first-person shooter fan. I haven't played any first-person shooter games other than Overwatch. And the reason why I haven't done that is because I think it's very hard for me to keep track of who's who. And another disclaimer, I know that war isn't pleasant. And these games are trying to convey that like, war isn't this fun, colorful, like, adventure that you're just gonna go on, and everybody's colorful, and everyone walks differently and everything. On the other hand, I am very good at picking up on body language and everything like that, so it's very easy for me to tell who's who by the way that they walk. So Overwatch really plays into that with like everybody having like a different run cycle, different walk cycle. Like Bastion doesn't walk the same as, say, Widowmaker. So it's very easy for me to know who is who, and with the same analogy, nobody looks the same really. I mean, yes, they could have skins that look similar, but everybody fundamentally has their own look. So that is what really got me into it. So in the beginning, when I first heard of Overwatch, I was like, oh, it's a first-person shooter, not really gonna mess with that, because, you know, my general experience with first-person shooters was they're not my cup of tea. So I kind of go on, but then I see Tracer, because I hadn't seen the picture of Tracer on the cover actually. I had just read, like, you know, Blizzard's new first-person shooter, Overwatch, like, just then. I hadn't seen the picture that, you know, was attached to it, and I was, you know, really interested with her design. Before I even became a design student, this was before I had been accepted into college, but I hadn't taken any design courses. And I was like, wow, she looks very interesting. Why does she have that glowy thing on her chest? That has to mean something. So then I have to Google first, who is the girl on the cover of Overwatch? And I say it's Tracer, so I can Google Tracer, and, you know, her wiki comes up. So I saw that, like, you know, it controls, you know, what sort of time she's in, and, like, you know, she's not actually, you know, speeding, she's just jumping forward in time a little bit, and I was like, whoa, that's really cool. And then I started looking at the other characters and reading their backstories, and I was like, wow, they've actually taken time to design these characters, not just like, you know, make a human, like draw a human and then slap a name on them. It was really cool for me to see that even though there was no story like in the game, they still took their time to make a story, to make a plot around the game, stories behind each and every character, and not only that, but intertwine like the characters into the story. So it's very like seamless integration between the story and the characters. Like, they don't feel out of place. So it was just very interesting to me to see a first-person shooter with so much thought. And don't get me wrong, I know that Halo is also a first-person shooter that also has a very interesting backstory that actually does have a story campaign, but I haven't played it because I don't have an Xbox and I have a PlayStation. So it's very hard for me to give an objective view on Halo when I haven't even played it yet. So those were my favorite games, and I hope that you enjoyed hearing why I like them. So at the beginning of the video, I said I wanted to do a shout out, so here it is. My friend Cody does Twitch streams, and his handle is Whiskey6. Is it called a handle? I don't know. So here it is on the screen, and it will also be linked down below. And so far what he's done a lot of is Siege. And he plays with his friends Derek and Scholar of the Unknown. They only join him on voice chat when he's doing multiplayer games such as Siege or Halo, but he's also doing his Fallout New Vegas series, which I'm a huge fan of, and he's also going to play some Overwatch, more Halo to come, I'm pretty sure. So if you are so inclined to watch, he streams Mondays and Thursdays at 8:30 his time, which is up on screen now because I don't know time zones. Thank you guys so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed. Leave a like and comment below your favorite video games. I want to know. So have a great day. Bye! I'm a cat person. He doesn't like the woman that talks.